If you're like me and have plenty of recurring subscriptions, one-time payments, that can be a lot to keep track of mentally and literally on a calendar. That's why I made, in my opinion, the easiest and most intuitive payments and subscriptions template to help keep me on track of my recurring payments and subscriptions in one easy Notion page. First, I recommend you download my template linked in my descriptions below before starting the step-by-step guide. That way you can follow along and make adjustments needed in order to create a successful setup. Alright, now that we've downloaded my template, we're going to begin talking about what's around the screen. So starting off with the navigation bar. These are your databases, and it is highly recommended that you do not delete or move these databases. These are what links each reminder individually into their respective tasks. The first one that you see is called Journal. And in accounting terms, a journal is a detailed record of all your transactions of business conducts, or also known as a book of original entry. So this is where all your accounts are going to live. I separated subscriptions and payments. That way it's easier for you to differentiate what would be considered a payment and what would be considered a subscription. For example, a subscription would be something like your Creative Clouds account or your Netflix account, and a payment would be something like your apartment rent or a credit card bill. And then last, I have a reminders database for any tasks or reminders to add that does not quite fit the database for payments and subscriptions. This is where I add reminders like changing my payment method for a certain account, or a reminder to cancel an account that I no longer need to use. Now that we have an understanding of the database pages, I'll quickly scroll through our home page overview. So I clearly labeled payment schedule here at the very top, where all your recurring payments and subscriptions will populate here. We will get into how to create these recurring reminders tasks in the next step. I have also included the reminders database just below for quick visibility. As we scroll down, I've also included a monthly calendar view because I like to see my recurring payments and subscriptions due dates in one holistic view. I think a calendar really helps you organize your payments if you're someone who doesn't use autopay, or you just have an idea of when payments are occurring so you can plan that accordingly. And then at the very end, I have the journals page. Okay, so this is the part where we need to make sure we're following through because this is the setup process. Rather than working directly in the databases, I'm actually going to begin my setup at the home page just because it's a little easier, and this is where we're most likely going to be living in the whole time. We're not really going to be visiting the databases too often. The very first step is to create a journal page. I really want to emphasize that we must work in the journal page first because this is where we're going to be able to link everything up. As you can see at the bottom, I've already created a few journal pages, but let's go ahead and go through the steps of actually creating it. Let's go ahead and click New. And I already have this template that's already inside the table view. So it's going to be a living template that you can just work right directly off of. And let's call this one American Express. And I can't remember if I have a tag in here. I actually don't. Okay, perfect. And we're going to go ahead and add a cover. I'm sure you've noticed I have a little bit of a theme with purpley clouds. So let's just go ahead and add that purple cloud theme going on. Okay, so I think I'm digging this one right here. So let's go ahead and click that. And let's also double check that it is filtered with the journal name. Okay, perfect. And there we go. We have created our first journal page together. Now we'll move on to the second step, which is the payment schedule. This is where we'll set up our first recurring template. I already have a default template that I recommend you use because it already includes all the databases that the recurring tasks will live in. So simply head over to Untitled and click the ellipses or the three dots, and then duplicate the template. As you can see, I have included 6 properties that I think will be useful: due date, the cost, the category in terms of what type of this task would be. So anywhere between like rent to credit card to entertainment and so forth. And then the tags, whether if it's a payment or a subscription type. And then a payment date, and then the journal that it belongs to. Let's go ahead and start typing out what we want to call this tab. All right, since we created a journal called American Express, let's call this recurring task American Express. I highly recommend that you include some kind of written out tag that signifies if this is whether a monthly or a yearly or an annual type of reoccurring payment. So American Express is a credit card payment, so this is going to be a monthly. So let me go ahead and type monthly out. Okay, perfect. And then for due date, select today, because when this task duplicates, it will actually duplicate on that day. So always select today. For cost, let's go ahead and just hit 60. And then as for category, let's go ahead and mark this as credit card. For tags, it's going to be a payment. And then for payment date, let's see, let's go ahead and just say it's due on the 14th, but I actually want this to populate a few days before. So we'll show you how we get to that point, but we'll just go ahead and mark it the 14th for now. And then this is the most important part. We need to make sure we actually link this to the journal that we created earlier. So go ahead and click into the empty box and then scroll down and select American Express and make sure it's linked. And then at the bottom of the subscriptions table that you see, go ahead and click filter, hit journal, and hit American Express. So this should now actually show in American Express once it's actually created. So let's go ahead and click out of it. And let's go ahead and go back. And now we see that it's called American Express. Now let's click the three ellipses again and head over to repeat. And you see how it says off? We'll go ahead and click into that and click monthly. This is where we're actually going to set up the reoccurring process and how often it's going to be repeated. So we want it once every month. And the start date, I believe I said I wanted, the payment's actually on the 14th, but I wanted to populate a couple days earlier. So I'm actually going to select the 11th, and it will actually now populate on the 11th moving forward. So go ahead and hit save. And now it indicates that it's going to be repeated every month on the 11th. So now let's go ahead and come out and let's just see what this actually looks like when we actually just click into the template itself. I want to show you how it populates. Now you can see that since we selected today as the due date, it populated to today's date, which is June 6th. And if we scroll all the way down, we also see that it populated in the calendar overview as well. Let's also click inside it, and now you can actually see that it did populate in the table, which is a good sign. So that means we actually did go through the correct setup process. I'm actually going to go ahead and create a couple more templates. That way we can actually fill this out just a little bit more. So just hang tight and I'll just go ahead and create a few more for you guys. I created a sample template of what my recurring payments and subscriptions look like in calendar view, and I also included some reminders to show you how it looks in the table, and I added some upcoming payments and subscriptions as well. I'm really proud I made this template because it helps me visualize all of my payments and subscription, in addition to giving me a holistic view of any subscriptions I should downsize from. Most importantly, I'm able to see how I'm spending my hard-earned money. Because this was so helpful for me, I want to share with you for better financial tracking. I really hope you find my tutorial and template helpful, and I'm planning to reiterate the template based on real feedback. So feel free to provide me any suggestions or changes I should make in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed creating this tutorial, please kindly subscribe, as I will continuously upload productivity tools or just my everyday life. Okay, see you guys next time.